Good morning, everyone. Buenos días. Welcome to session number 5. As usual, we're waiting a few minutes to let everybody in, so make sure you enjoy the music and that you have your proper name tag, right? Like tell us who you are and what organization you're representing here today so that we know who's in the room. Good morning, Sandra. Hi, Jay. Hi, Pietro. Feel free to use the chat in the meantime to tell us how you're doing, where you're joining from. These last few days have been crazy intense for all of us. So feel free to use the chat as a cathartic opportunity if you desire to do that. Hi, Danielle. It's nice to have you here again. Good morning, Richard. I just saw your message. Okay, so let's get this fundraising party started. Welcome to session 5, as I said. Today we're going to be talking about how to leverage your board's fundraising power or superpower. You decide what title you want to keep. So as usual, we will be spending the next hour together, and this is what it looks like, right? Like the idea is for all of you to keep mingling with each other and keep meeting each other. And then we want to divide the session in 3 parts, right? Like one, we have a very important and I would say generous guest who's going to tell us how she's been doing this for a few years now. So she's going to be giving us some tips on how she's been leveraging her board's fundraising power. Then you will all have the opportunity to ask our guests questions, right? And then if we have time, we want to open up the mic for you all to share any tips that our guests didn't get to share, right? We bet that most of you are already implementing some of these strategies. So we would want to use this opportunity for us to learn from each other and not only from our panelists. And then we will always wrap it up with next steps and some ideas on like the month and a half that we have ahead. So on that note, we just want to remind you, right, that Molly and Dre are your go-to people for Give Miami Day. Molly on all the registration and tech side of things, and Andreina more on the strategic fundraising. And then today, I will be moderating the conversation. So for those of you who do not know me, I am Joanne Goloy. I'm the Executive Director of Radical Partners. And in this Give Miami Day bubble, I strive by being the nonprofit advocate, right? To make sure that we keep all of our needs and necessities at the forefront of what we're doing. And our special guest, which I will share more about soon, is Sherry Thompson Giordano, who's the Executive Director for PACE, Center for Girls. So that's your crew for today. And then you have some other Give Miami Day and the Miami Foundation team members, like Bruno is here. And then Radical Partners crew, you have Radical Parvati and Karina there to support you as well in the chat. So on that note, as I was saying at the beginning, we know that the past few days have been intense, whether you were affected by the storm, whether you have family members in other parts of Florida, or if you're from Latin America, your family has been texting you like crazy, are you okay? Are you okay? Because they don't know that Miami wasn't part of the storm. So on that note, Sherry and I really want to know what's happening in the room and who's in the room. So the way we will do our icebreaker today, for us to get to know each other better, is by using their reactions on Zoom. So all the way at the bottom of your screen, you should have a button that says reactions. And it typically gives you 5 options, right? Like the party emoji and like raising your hand, thumbs up. But if you click on more, you can actually search for more emojis and you have the possibility to use all the ones you have on your phone. So I'll give a minute just to make sure that everybody knows how to use them, because I will be asking some questions and the way we want to see your answers is by the use of those emojis. So if you know how to use them, give me a thumbs up using the emojis so that I can see if you're all in good standing with that. Okay, Maurice, I see you. Liz, Anna, Bruno, Sandra, Glenda. Okay, Tiffany. Okay, I see a heart there. So it seems like it's working. Paloma has sunglasses. I don't know where you are, Paloma, but there's no sun around me. Okay, so question number 1. How are you feeling today? Okay, I see some happy faces, some party ones. I see a lot of silence. So that's an answer for me, that you might all be feeling meh. Okay, so Paloma, Bruno, Pascal, maybe we will need some of your happiness to be shared in the chat so that we can share with the ones that are feeling meh and sleepy. And that's okay, right? Like it's been intense and yet here we are. So we want to acknowledge the moment in which we chose to be present, to be here and learn to the best of our abilities this morning. So second question. We want you to find an emoji that best describes your outfit today. So if you're feeling fancy, you will find heels and dresses. But if you're in your PJs, you can use that sleepy face again. Tell us the truth. I won't tell Grace, but I see you. Someone added a portfolio, so I'm assuming that's like the work attire. Okay, question number 3. How confident do you feel about leveraging your board for fundraising? Thumbs up if you're feeling good, thumbs down if you feel like there's a lot to learn, or a question mark if you're somewhere in the middle. So I'm going to say it again. If you feel super confident about leveraging your board, give me a thumbs up. If you don't, give me a thumbs down. And if you're feeling or like someone in the middle, give me a question mark. Okay, I see a little bit of everything. Okay, last question, and we will use the chat for this one. We want to know how big is your board. So just type the number of, if you have 5 board members, if you have 25, we want to see that waterfall in the chat of how big are your boards. Okay, 11, 8, 14, 5, 18, 3, 44, Jennifer, wow. 33 for Karina. 10, 5. I see you, Salen, good morning. Wow. Okay. So we're talking about boards with 3 people, right? So that's like a small team. And then we see all the way to 33 and 44 people, right? Like that is even larger than most of our teams in this organization, right? So like Radical Partners has a core team of 6, the Miami Foundation has a core team of 33. So I want you to like just acknowledge that, because if you have a board that's big, you have a big team to leverage, right, for this Give Miami Day season. And for those of you who are on the smaller side, do not fret, right? Like you have 3, 5, 7 powerful people that I'm assuming are all in when it comes to your mission and your vision for the organization. So we need to put them to work. So thank you so much for sharing. And without further ado, I'm going to reintroduce you to Sherry Thompson Giordano, who's the Executive Director of PACE Center for Girls. So a few nerdy facts about Sherry and a few fun facts about Sherry. The nerdy fact is that Sherry started her career in the corporate world, right? She was one of the first women at several tech companies. She scaled her way up, and then she spent almost 20 years working in the US and abroad. So like the amount of languages that she speaks, not only like literally French, Spanish, Italian, but also corporate language and nonprofit language, right? Like this is something that describes her very well. And the reason why I'm saying that is because for you to thrive in the corporate world, you need to understand the numbers world, right? And to think about objectives and results and ROIs. So she comes from that background, but she's been leading PACE for almost 10 years now, which for those of you who are familiar, you know that PACE is also a complex and delicious organization to run, because it's somewhere in the middle of being a nonprofit, playing with government, and being a school, right, for girls that need the extra support. So Sherry, again, talking about the languages, right, she needs to talk Department of Justice language, Department of Education language, nonprofit world, teenage language, in order for her to thrive. And today we have the pleasure to have her here to share how she's been leveraging her board and getting them to fundraise for and with her. So without further ado, Sherry, please take it away and enchant us with what you know.
Oh, Joanne, thank you so much. And it's been a fun life, and you make it sound even more exciting than possibly it was. So thank you. I'm really honored to be here today. I do want to take a moment to just think about and recognize those folks up north and who have been involved in this horrible storm Ian. We have 21 centers across the state. And so as I was explaining earlier, just 2 or 3 of our centers were not impacted. So we are kind of following up today to make sure everybody's okay. So we ask for prayers and best wishes, and we give those to you and your family also. So one thing I want to really explain, the reason why I'm able to have this conversation with you today is because I didn't always do it this way. And I learned. And the greatest thing about not always succeeding tremendously is learning from that and turning that around. So this is kind of more of a lessons learned conversation with outcomes that are sustainable and viable. And I'm happy to share this with you. So we basically are talking about board involvement, and how you leverage your board and their fundraising power. So let's first make a couple statements, and that is that basically board involvement, I promise you, will greatly improve your Give Miami Day outcome. Before we involved our board, myself and my development manager, who I think is on the call today, we were doing Give Miami Day. And as all of you out there know, you have 100 balls up in the air. And Give Miami Day kind of falls into a time frame that there are a lot of events before and a lot of events after. And so quite candidly, we were resource bound, and we could only do so much. And because of that, we had very modest results. However, we knew a couple of things. We knew that Give Miami Day is one of the greatest opportunities to gain presence and to gain funding, but we need more involvement from people. So we looked around and we said, my goodness, we have a great group of board members. We currently have 13 board members. And we thought maybe if we could somehow engage them and help us, or maybe even lead the Give Miami Day campaign, that would be really great. So we first sat up and worked with each of our board members, because they are advocates. And, you know, for our board members are advocates and fundraisers. Now, I don't think this will come as any surprise. Lots of times you interview board members and they've got their heart with you and they really, you know, care about what you're doing and they want to be on the board. And when you talk to them about how important it is for fundraising, they say, yes, it's not a problem. But then when they become board members, they probably share that's not their strong suit and they're not comfortable. So what we figured is we just have to make everybody comfortable. And how do we do that? So we spent a lot of time with the board and presenting what is Give Miami Day, what is the importance of it. And of course, the importance is unrestricted funding, opportunity, greater visibility with the organization, and an opportunity to actually establish new funders. So that, you know, the board understood that, they were excited about that concept. And then we needed to select a board member as the chair. So the development manager and executive director of PACE were not going to be driving this campaign. It was going to be a board member. So we had a woman who kindly volunteered, and we sat with her and we talked about everything that needed to be done. So we talked about the fact that she needed really to reach out to each board member and review the Give Miami Day process. She was going to become, or did become, the go-to person for all of this effort. And she needed to create an engagement plan, monitor it, and set a goal. Our development director and myself, we worked closely with her to do this. And again, I'm going to tell you, she had a lot of energy and really wanted to make the phone calls and really wanted to be part of this. She was very, very excited. So I'm going to take a little bit from, if you were at the last session with Adriana, she talked a lot about network engagement. That's what we're talking about here. If you have a board size of 3, don't think about those 3 people. Think about who those 3 people know and how wide is their network, because that's how you can expand. If you have a board of 44, again, think about how great that expansion is going to be. So it's just, you know, working with what you have, and the whole idea is to expand and get in network engagement. Having your board members leverage their personal and their professional networks is a key to the success. And what we found is the more that the board knows and the more comfortable they are in understanding what is happening, they are more excited about sharing that with their friends. So the next slide, please. So diversity and approach. I think this is kind of our theme in all of this. I'm hoping that you're catching all of that. So some people are really good about picking up the phone, calling their friends and saying, hey, will you help us out? I've got this great nonprofit. Give Miami Day is a really important fundraising day for us. What can you do? Some people are not comfortable with that at all. So we had, for sure, the chair of our campaign, as she met with each board member, she really talked about where is your comfort level? What do you think that you can do? You don't have to do it alone. We had board members that would group up together. We had board members that did go out on their own and reach out to their network. Again, it's all about what their strong suit is. It's the information and formulates that approach that members take ownership. So that's another thing we found that really was important, is we're not telling a board member to do anything. They're kind of helping create their own design about how they want to go and make Give Miami Day a success. When you have that ownership, it's the best, because then they really want to make sure that they can show you how good they can do and how great for the nonprofit. Um, As I said earlier, the board members could act independently if they liked, or they could pair up with other board members. They could create competition with one another. We had a couple do that, and that was actually a lot of fun throughout the time. And remember, all of this is being done before Give Miami Day. This is all a strategy that we put in place where we are sending out emails and people are being reviewed and answers, questions are being answered by potential networking campaign people. And it's really, really great because when Give Miami Day comes, it's almost like we get to sit back and really watch it all, watch the results of all the effort that was put in over the last couple of months. One of the things that we found is really important, as I said earlier, is how the board member wants to work. So we do peer-to-peer, we offer peer-to-peer campaigns, email blasts, phone scripts. We focus on the Give Miami Day hours during the day to make sure that we can leverage and optimize our fundraising during that time. We are really relying on the board and their sense of excitement to reach others. And you get a good buzz, you can feel it. It's very exciting. And then I will tell you the most critical piece of our success over the last 4 years especially has been matches. So we worked with our board to see if they would match. If we got to a certain level, would they donate a match? And we got one board member and his family to do that. And we were able then to share that information. Are other people interested in matching? We had another board members that said, yes, I'll match. And then his company matched. Now see how this grows? And the excitement around all of that is incredible. So it's really, so take a look at matches, take a look at getting your board involved. And in fact, that might be where you have one board member that wants to donate a certain amount of money. Maybe that's going to be his annual or her annual give. And then just say, hey, could you reach out to your network and have this matched? And then again, that way the network is doing the work, not necessarily the board member. So if you leave with anything, please know that we're teaching you, we're talking about lessons learned, and we're also talking about try to incorporate a match within your Give Miami Day because it will work. So next slide, please. After doing all of this, and it seems like a lot of work, but also what you're doing is you're starting now. You start right now and you lay things out and you work to get to that next step. The nonprofit also needs to support the board. So basically they're doing kind of the heavy lifting, the day-to-day tasks, and you're not. But what we do need to do is create collateral for the board use. So we timed emails. Last year we did all of our emails. We put them up early on in October, if not actually earlier. And then we had them timed for time release during Give Miami Day, weeks leading up to Give Miami Day. We made flyers for our board members before Give Miami Day so they could distribute them. And also we were highlighted the special hours and the time, and everything went out automatically. So we also gave our board a lot of social media presence. So we made sure that we were blasting information out all the time. Again, really important that your board knows that you're supporting them and that you're a team doing this together. One thing we've been wanting to do, and we are going to do it this year for the first time. So, I'll be happy to report out after this, but we always wanted to thank our board and wanted to thank our donors that at the end of the day on Give Miami Day. So this year, and we just couldn't figure out how to do it. But what we have done this year is we've contacted a restaurant in Miami who we work closely with, actually is one of our board members. And we're gonna have a celebration at the end of the day, just a 5 to 7 reception. Not necessarily, we're not really buying any drinks or any food for anybody. We're just asking people to come on in and celebrate. And of course, we were able to get a donation from our board member that if you have donated to PACE for Give Miami Day, you will have 1 free drink. And so that would be very exciting. And then, of course, you know us, we're going to also make sure that if there's anybody else there that would like to donate to PACE that day, we'd be happy to have them do that. But we really want to show our gratitude, not only to our donors, but also to our board, because we did ask a lot from them and they did deliver. And that's, that's just to me the most important thing. The day after Give Miami Day, also very important. Now that we have all this energy, Gabby and myself, we can make stewardship calls the next day because we haven't worked and all the way up. We've had the board doing that effort and that energy taken. So now the day after, we're going to call out all those who donated and thank them. And then because we do believe that this is, again, out of gratitude to the donor and out of gratitude to the board member. It is important for them to know that the work that they put into this and the results that we received that are greatly appreciated, and we will do everything that we can to support that and to make that grow. Next slide. So it's a win-win, which was a great book written in probably the 1990s about for-profit businesses and how you can achieve win-wins. And so to me, this is a win-win. Our board members feel empowered. They will be excited about the outcome and they're going to want to stay engaged, and they are great volunteers for the next project that you have. And I will tell you that since COVID, we've looked at smaller events, different ways of raising money, and those board members are right there with us, helping us, strategizing with us and implementing some of these plans. So that, I believe, is all from the excitement that they received from Give Miami Day. Our outcomes. So over the last 4 years, we realized, and this is an accurate number, 1,400% increase funding growth for Give Miami Day. It was absolutely a board-led, board engagement program. The board had an outreach to their network, which just multiplied our network and our reach. Again, creating the match program and having not only our board members, but also other donors create matches, and then possibly their corporations, and then offering the collateral support for our board to help them reach even more and reach more impactfully. Basically, this is what we did, and it is, I promise you it works. And I promise you that you'll be amazed at how almost effortless it is. The first year you're teaching a lot and you're showing and you're demonstrating, but after that, the board wants to take it. And so if you have a 44-person board and you have 10 people that are interested in doing this, that's fabulous. If you have 44 people that are interested, that's a home run. But you will all, I think, enjoy Give Miami Day even more because it's fun to be working with a group of people that work hard for your center or your organization and for the direct services that you offer. So thank you very much. I would love to answer any questions you might have.
Thank you so much, Sherry. I see a bunch of folks taking notes and writing things down. So we're opening up the space for questions. Feel free to ask the question in the chat or just raise your hand and we'll definitely give you the opportunity to ask yourself directly.
This is the first question I see is a great question. How do you help your board members overcome their fear of fundraising? You probably don't. And so that person is just not wired to ask for money to fundraise. So what we've done is we say, okay, what do you want to do? Are you a good advocate? So if the person is a good advocate for your organization, just have them network. As they network, are they members of the Chamber of Commerce? Are they members of different associations? Well, if they are, when they go through a process of introducing themselves, please have them say, and I'm a board member of this organization, and I would like to tell you about this organization. Because the more people know about your organization, the more that gets you closer to funding. So if we can't really force somebody to to be uncomfortable, but if you find a sweet spot, and basically what we've done is just we sit with our board members and ask them, where are you comfortable? What would you like to do? And then what we also have found as they get more involved, maybe in the advocacy side of it, all of a sudden they want to really talk to people about the organization. And those conversations can oftentimes lead to, oh, where can I donate? And now they're just giving that link or they're giving that information and they turn around and they feel very proud that they now are fundraisers.
You have more questions coming in, Sherry. So Gladys is asking, well, she's thanking you for an insightful presentation. And she's asking, how do you leverage board matching on the day of, if you do? And there are follow-up questions there, right? Do you pool their money and match throughout the day or do smaller matches at certain hours of the day?
What we have done, and we probably are going to try some different things, but what we've done is we've actually gotten the okay for or approval for matches before Give Miami Day. So we've just then basically talked about that and showcased that during Give Miami Day, but the matches are done before. And I think that that's probably the best way to do it because then you know for sure that you have matches. But I think, we also are going to try to do some different things this year and seeing if we can do that on the run is good. Our board chair or our campaign chair also did send out emails and made sure people were aware of during special hours when we can optimize our giving. Our giving is optimized by Give Miami Day. So she really worked the day. She worked that very strongly on that day.
And we have a question from Anna talking about that part where you talked about creating material so that they can go ahead and share. And Anna's asking what collateral has been most helpful to your board members?
I think probably most helpful to the board members is the collateral that is two things, kind of flashy and informative. So I went right to what the collateral looks like. But we're talking about flyers, we're talking about email blasts and social media.
Okay. Yeah, and I would add to that, like some organizations and some of the things that we do sometimes is we even draft emails for them, right? So
Yes.
One is like the email blast, as you were saying, Sherry, but if we want them to reach out to their friends, we share drafts with them. And good news is that next week, those are some of the materials that you will be seeing on your nonprofit hub, right? A messaging toolkit with social media templates for you to post things, but also email drafts that you can start sharing out with your board members for them to use.
That's perfect. And that's also what we do when we start in the beginning working with the board, we already have emails information out. So all of our board members, even though they've been board member for a long time, when it's time to sit down and really write about it, they all come to us and say, what should we say? What should we do? So again, we just put together templates for them to send out and to customize as should be.
Mm-hmm. Then we have a question from Pietro. He's asking, have you seen success in asking a core group of board members to set up champion pages for other board members that might not be as active, or volunteer leaders and their spheres so that they can influence through the champion pages?
We have done a little of that, but that is something we really need to do more of, because I think that's another avenue that is very, very helpful. And once again, if you've got one board member that is really expertise on this, comfortable with that, then he or she can help the other board members. That's a great idea.
Mm-hmm. And Pietro, I will be blunt to say that if you have a core group of board members that are very active and savvy in tech that volunteer to create champion pages for other board members that are busy, go ahead. But if you want the active core group board members to create champion pages for people that aren't that tech savvy, I would encourage you not to invest your energy there, because it means that you would have to guide them all the way through, like, this is your champion page, this is how you post, this is how you promote it. And that might not be the best use of your time and their power, right? So you need to know if they're on the older side of things, they're used to maybe handwritten notes or making phone calls. So leverage that because it comes natural to them, they will enjoy it. So if they're willing to learn and willing to do it, great, invest your time and your energy in that. But if you will feel like you're forcing them into getting into platforms and things that they don't use and don't want to use, I would play with the ones that already love the champion pages, and the other ones I would use other methods that work for them.
And I second that hugely. It's all about what we talked about earlier is if you can't make somebody fundraise, if you can kind of trick them into doing things because of where their strong suit is, then you're not tricking them, first of all, but then that would be most beneficial. But to have somebody say, yes, technically I want to do this, but that's not how they're wired. It just isn't going to work. And Joanne said it the best, it will frustrate you because now you'll be spending time doing that versus other things that could be more impactful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So this is, you will find this very surprising. What is the best thing to do? Just ask them, right? It's like, hey, I need you all to help on Give Miami Day. What can you do? What do you want to do? And then 5 of them will say like, I am happy to email people. 4 of them will say, I'm happy to call people. So then you segment those groups and you create the collaterals for them so that they can expand to their networks, as Sherry was saying. So sometimes we forget to ask, and that takes us a long way.
That's right. There's a question about when do we start our board? So basically we started last month telling them when the Give Miami Day is, the date. We then, of course, certainly before that, talked to the chair of the campaign last year, and she agreed to do it again this year. So that's incredible. And last week at our board meeting, we talked more about that. So we just keep a rolling conversation going now. And Gabby will be sharing pieces of collateral at the next meeting. And, we're going to dive in.
Yeah, so if you haven't already started, I would say October is coming next week. Perfect time for you to say we're a month and a half away, and to start like nurturing them and preparing them, as Sherry was saying. And then I would say you go intensely with the campaign and sharing the collateral a month before, right? That's when people, it starts making sense, like, oh, okay, like we're already in the middle of October, like we only have 1 month. People automatically start working towards it.
And I know that Gabby has already started to work towards the email blast that we're going to be sending out automatically. And again, last year, that was all done before October. So it was really great. So then during the day, I mean, we didn't have to worry about anything. They went out when they were timed to go out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I know you and Gabby do this very well, right? Like you start the campaign early and it gets more intense with time. In the advertising world, they say that you need customers to see things 7 times to actually go ahead and buy it. So you can do that, right? Start saying like, we're excited for Give Miami Day, then this, but then as you get closer, you start asking more concrete asks from board members, but you definitely want them to at least have the date on their calendar and knowing that you're going to ask them to do some work with you.
Right. And also, you don't have to go to a restaurant to celebrate. You can invite people back to your organization's building and just have a nice networking time together and just thank everybody so much. Thank you, Gabby.
I'm going to open the mic soon, Gabby, and I see you nodding constantly. So we might tap into your expertise shortly. I want to make sure that there's no other lingering questions there.
Hola, ¿cómo estás?
Is that question in Spanish for us, or the mic was open? I think it was open by mistake. Okay, so if we have no other questions, I'm going to thank you again, Sherry, for being so generous and just giving us and sharing your magic sauce. And I want to invite everybody, like, let's picture ourselves in a physical room, right? Like we typically have the panelists at the front and then people listening in the audience. But now Sherry's coming down from the stage just so that we can all engage in conversation. So what that could look like in the Zoom room is if you can, please turn your camera on so that we know who we're talking to. Because now what we want is for you to share any tips with the people that are here, right? I already see some cameras turning on. So welcome to this virtual room, and feel free to open up your mic and to reaffirm or share an example or best practice of what Sherry already shared. And then if you have other things that you didn't see on Sherry's list, please go ahead and share that too. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen so that we can see each other better. And Gabby, I'm going to pass the mic to you.
Hi, everyone. I'm Gabriella Neville, Development Manager at Pay Center for Girls Miami. The one thing that I definitely want to touch upon is the making the champion pages. And one of the things that a board member told me last year that his girlfriend did was that she attended a seminar that the nonprofit put on to teach people how to set up their pages and how to use their pages. I thought that was really interesting because we've had times that we have set up pages for our champions and then they don't get used and the people are just sending out our link, and it's because really they didn't have any buy-in to do it themselves. So I would definitely recommend if you decide to make champion pages for people, see if they'll just join you on a Zoom really quick and you guys can walk through it together, and then they really take ownership of that page. It's just because during Give Miami Day you'll see your champions and you don't want them to have zeros next to them.
Right.
Even though your page is doing super well, you just want to make sure that your champion pages also look well and they're actually sending out the correct link. So that would be my only suggestion. I thought that was really cool that she attended that and she was fundraising for another organization and did super well. So
yeah, so and I'll piggyback on that, Gabby, by if you want and can invite your board members to these workshops, you can, right? The next one that's coming up is how to love on your donors. We will be hearing from Glenn Kaufhold, who's a master at like managing relationships, right? So invite your board members. This is free to them. That way they can feel some of the Give Miami Day energy and also learn some of those tips so that they can implement them themselves.
Perfect.
Maurice, I don't know why I feel like you have something to share with all of you, with all of us. It's like, I don't know if it's your glasses, the blazer, it's giving me the vibe that you have something to share.
It's my spirit, right? Yeah, I'm really here to listen and learn. I have Pietro Bonacasso, who's our development VP here. I'm just trying to make sure that we take full advantage of this amazing opportunity. So yeah, what I have to share with you is my spirit, and I'm really listening and learning on how we can leverage this opportunity moving forward. But thank you, Joan. I appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you, Maurice. So was that a way in which you were delegating the responsibility for Pietro to share some of
right.
the exercises?
And it's exciting. I've had the pleasure to work with Give Miami Day since the inception of this wonderful campaign. And there's so many best practices that I think we've all have gleaned over the years. The reason I asked the earlier question about the champion pages is because we have a very diverse and energetic group on our board. And we have certainly people who come from all walks of life, and we have certainly a core group that I think we can think of that might really be inclined to set up a champion page because it's exciting. You can manage it from anywhere at any time, and it also helps track the success. And then there are so many other vehicles that were part of the introduction and the presentation that other board members would be more comfortable leveraging. And so we're really, really excited about exploring all those avenues.
Thank you, Pietro. I'm glad you took away something. Anything from you, Jennifer, Jackie, Pascal, Angelica, Danielle?
I guess I can just add with the posting a webinar on champion pages. I'm the one with the 44 board members, so it's very hard to pin a lot of them down. So we offered Zoom to walk through it, but then I also made a screen recording of the process so that they could review it in their own time. You can use Vimeo for that. That's what I did. And it was pretty successful, but if you're having a hard time scheduling time, I would suggest that too.
And Jennifer and Gabby, I always like to talk about things that aren't addressed that often. So I'm going to go ahead and share a comment / a question there. Sometimes we ask board members to do something, and what ends up happening is that they end up absorbing your time, right? Because they're calling you constantly, texting you constantly. I don't know how to set up that page. So I would love for you, Jennifer, Gabby, and Sherry, to share how do you manage that, right? Like what are you doing in anticipation of that to make sure that your time is not going to go the other way around, right? Because you want them to work, they put you more to work. How do you manage that?
Great question. So one of the things we've been doing this the way that we've been doing it for the past, it's going to be our third year coming, right? Third year. Yeah. Because 2019 is when we really took it in. And then, so this is our third year going in. So I have anticipated questions. There are certain board members that I think will always get a text message in the middle of the night trying to figure something out, but that is what it is. But coming up with really our collateral folder and sharing it to everyone. So this isn't just sharing one image or one email. No, this is a folder that contains all of that stuff. Even if you want to text someone, the language you can use and what link to use and what QR code to use. And so I try to make it as stupid proof as possible is what I want to say. So that like, if they just go into that folder, it says like email for Give Miami Day, or I want to thank my donors for Give My, like it goes as detailed as that. So that's kind of where I try to do it as much as possible. And then I also send photos. Like we create collateral that's not only wide. So if they just want a cover page, or if they want it just long for a story, I try to make it as easy as possible for them. And then on top of that, that helps us because then I can use all of this stuff for Pace Miami as well. So it's really just trying to think ahead of those questions. Those board members that are going to be asking certain questions. So kind of trying to just get in front of it. And even having, like, what I also do is I follow up with an email directly to that person saying, hey, did you have time to see this, to try to bite it in the butt ahead of time. So, or send them a text being like, hey, did you understand that? They either say, yes, oh, I'm going to look it over tonight, so that before they get caught up on making that champion page and getting stuck at like 11 p.m. at night. And then that's when I get the call. Instead, I'm hoping to try to do it ahead of time. So it's just kind of trying to be organized with it is all I can definitely say.
Right. And what I would add also is that's, the champion page and the collateral and that has to come out of our house. Right. But also having a captain or a chair for the campaign that's a board member is really helpful, because she was taking a lot of phone calls that, we would have normally be getting, but we don't have to get. So, because it's all about strategy and their comfort level and how she's working with them. What we have to do is just what Gabby described, and that does take a lot. But so I think that if you can have somebody on your board that is the go-to person, it's not going to be 100%, because Gabby and I can both tell you, but it really helps out, and it really frees up a lot of time for us at the organization to be doing what we need to do.
I'm gonna just jump in. I think I'm totally the opposite. I feel let me see. I'm a small organization. We have 5 board members, and it's like I've been doing the same thing for like 3 years, and this year I said that's it. I'm not, because we're not getting anywhere. So this is really really good for me to hear. I've been kind of you're a small organization, you kind of do everything yourself, right? So
Yeah.
it's like, that's it, it's not getting me anywhere, delegate, and so listening to this, I'm thinking, okay, I champion pages, getting groups, that's so far from, this is the first time I'm gonna say to my board, besides just asking them to help us with Give Miami Day, something more structured, so I'm sitting here like thinking, okay, what will be my first step, small board, but I'm thinking, as you were saying, Sherry, there's one board member who's very enthusiastic and I'm thinking the idea of making him what did you call it? The
Chair of the Give Miami-Dade campaign. Yeah.
Right. I think that might be the answer for me because, I think rather than coming from me, right now it's coming from another board member and it's kind of bringing them together in something like that. So everybody's on with the cause. But
Yeah.
when it comes to give, donations, my particular board, they kind of a little bit, okay, so.
Well, and I think everybody on this call could say the same thing, but the most important thing, Pascal, is that you're doing just the right thing and just think of it one step at a time. As Gabby explained, here we are now, but it took us years to get there. And the key is if you can just have growth every year, then what you do is you build the excitement from that growth. And so if you've got somebody that you think would be really good, it's also fun because now you have a partner to work with, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
May I offer a suggestion?
Go ahead, Pietro.
For Pascal and for the group? I think for me, what's worked well is implementing a multi-channel solicitation effort with a consistent message and very simple. In other words, there may be board members who are just very active via email and are super comfortable just sharing an email that goes out to 5 folks within their network or 10 business partners. And then there are board members who are very comfortable sharing social media. There are others who just want a phone contact list of 10, 15 names who have given in the past, and they just need a script that's consistent. I think having that message completely consistent allows all of your volunteer leaders and your champions, if you will, to get that level of comfort so that in the days and weeks leading up to the event, they know exactly all the talking points, they can answer questions, and they also feel like they feel some sense of ownership in the success of the campaign, if that makes sense.
Yeah, a playbook is always so helpful and people can refer to it. It's a great idea.
That's a great segue for us to start wrapping it up. And Pascal, the one thing that I will tell you is, remember that Sherry shared that they've been doing this for 4 years, right? So she shared all these steps, but for some of us, that is not possible. We just don't have the bandwidth to do that. So what I would strongly encourage you to do is literally just for you to sit for an hour and say, what is that you want to do for Give Miami Day? You think of like, okay, an email campaign, maybe social media, And once you have that strategy, then you can think of who can help me do this, right? Who can help me execute this? And hopefully you will find this board chair that you were saying, like, okay, this person can help me here, this person can help me here. I have no one here. Is this the year when I need to find this person? Maybe not, right? So maybe you can put that in the 2023 bucket and just dedicate your time and your energy for this one so that you also feel successful in what you're doing, right? So that you see that return of investment of time and energy. And then next year, you already have that as a base and you try another one, right? So I would say instead of going for all, try to go for 1 or 2 and hone it on that one. So thank you all for participating. Do you want to share anything else, Sherry, before we close it out?
I love what you just said. And so I would say that take the minute to really enjoy the success, even if it's a small success, because there is nothing more contagious than that. And so just as you were just saying, if you can celebrate one area that, wow, I did something really great, this works, then just make it a little wider next year and a little wider the year after. And all of a sudden you're going to be at a 1,400% increase and you're going to be so happy. But it starts off with one small at a time. Definitely.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Sherry, Gabby, for sharing the pace tips, but also everybody else that shared questions and tips. So what's next? Believe it or not, September is almost over, right? So the next 2 weeks are super important for 2 reasons. We've done some of the dreaming in terms of Give Miami Day, how to fundraise, creating those campaigns. We're doing some of the building. And then when it comes mid-October, we're going to do some of the execution, right? So the last session that's part of this building block is going to be on October 13th with Glenn, as I shared with you, on how to love your donors and your champions. So he's going to be sharing a lot of tips on how to be grateful with these people, how to celebrate, as Sherry was saying. So if you're interested in joining this session, go to this link or scan the QR code that you see here. And this is the one thing that you can start asking your board members, like, come with me to this session, right? So that we can learn together and see what we can do together. That's happening in the next 2 weeks. The other super important thing for you to remember is that you only have 2 weeks left to register for Give Miami Day if you haven't done so, right? There are more than 600 organizations already approved. So yay to all of us who are already there and can start fundraising. If you're waiting to be approved, stay put. The Miami Foundation team is working on that. But if you haven't registered, do not think about it. Go ahead and register because the deadline is going to be October 14th. And last but not least, talking about toolkits, right? As Gabby was saying, making sure that you have all the collateral that you need. Remember that we're doing most of that work for you. If you go to givemiamiday.org/hub, there are social media templates. There will be email templates. So whenever you're in need of something, before you start creating it, go to that website to see if it's already there, download it, personalize it, use it. And then if it's not there, then you can go ahead and spend some team time creating that. The last thing that I will ask you is for you to just take a moment to share your experience with us today. So a poll will be popping up soon, and just make sure that you spend a minute or two filling it out before we wrap it up today.
Quiero regalarte lo que siento, cantarte melodías que me invento. Quiero dibujarte una sonrisa, poner colores a la brisa y decirte que para amarte no necesito que me lleves al cielo. Solo quiero que me des tus besos, así lo tengo todo. Para amarte, no necesito que me des.
Jackie, I see your hand raised, and Juliana, I see your question. So when we wrap it up, we always stay here to address any questions that weren't addressed. So I'll get back to you soon.
Quiero regalarte la ironía, la típica perfecta poesía. Hoy más que inteligente seré sabio, pondré mis labios en tus labios para decirte que para amarte no necesito que me lleves al cielo. Solo quiero que me des tus besos, así lo tengo todo.
Okay, I see people starting to log off. So I just want to thank you all again for joining us today. Thank you, Sherry and Gabby, for sharing Pace's magic sauce, as I said. Don't forget that you can count on Molly and Dre as well in between sessions to ask questions, share comments in the Slack channels that we have in use, or just to book office hours. And everything that you need is going to be in givemiamiday.org/hub. Thank you again all for joining. Feel free to log off if you need to. We're gonna, as usual, stay here with music, enjoying the after party and answering any questions that weren't addressed.